Okay, everyone, welcome to mini vocal technique lesson for voice actors. Thank you guys all for coming today. I know we're all voice actors and we all just kind of stumbled out of bed. So you guys rock for doing this kind of bright and early in voiceover world. So we're just going to talk about three really important concepts today. I'm not going to go over warming up. I think there are thousands of different sources for trying to warm up out there, which you can probably find. There's also an in-depth warm-up on the GVA YouTube channel at the end of a presentation I did for Bill DeWeese's narration seminar. So if you do want to look for some warm-up exercises there and breathing exercises, you can find them, and I go into depth at the end of that video. So let me know if you need it afterwards. I'm happy to point it out. Okay, cool. So the main thing I wanted to show you guys today, and the reason why I wanted you to look at that video, is just number one, to show you where your larynx is and what happens to it as we record and how we can keep it in a relaxed position. Okay? So I know you saw in the video him trace his finger down to his Adam's apple, correct?
Yes.
So everyone can just go ahead and do that for a second and find your Adam's apple as close as you can, or wherever you think it is. And now we're all going to do a couple of things. We're going to change our pitch, and we're going to talk in a very low voice and then in a very high voice. And I want you to feel what happens underneath your finger. So first, let's go low. And it's going to sound a little bit kind of Yogi Bear-ish or Sylvester Stallone. So, hey, I'm Yogi Bear. La, 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 la. Just talk in a low voice for a second and see what happens.
Talking in a low voice.
Yes. Yes.
This is how I talk every day.
So you should feel good. Okay. So did you feel it kind of dip under your finger?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. So now put your finger back there again, and now let's switch to a high voice. Hello, my name is Cristina.
Yes, this is
crazy.
do this very often.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
So now we're going to go from a high tone into a low tone. Hello. Welcome, Jason. So now we're going to go from a high tone to a low tone back and forth, and I want you to feel the larynx glide up and down underneath your finger. So try la 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 la.
Wow.
Did everyone feel it just go?
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Huge. Yeah.
So that is your larynx. Every once in a while, I will meet somebody who cannot feel their larynx in this way. And so I'm going to explain a different way to feel it, just for those few people that have a hard time feeling this. Mara, who all of us probably know, was one of those people. So I had to go do extra research to find another way to feel your larynx for her. So here's the other way that you can feel it. I want you to feel where your collarbone is. And then right in between, there's like a little hole, the little divot. Okay, so right above that is where your larynx is. So what I want you to do right now is just yawn.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Did you feel like kind of push down into that area? Now, almost every vocal technique singing coach you'll ever meet is going to tell you yawning is a wonderful thing to do to prepare for singing or doing any kind of vocalization exercise. The reason why is because the larynx is in a nice low, not pulled down low, but in a nice low relaxed position, you tend to get a very beautiful relaxed open sound, which it's also effortless. It's not a tense sound. So if you notice, let's all try to create a tense sound for a moment, just to know what not to do. Which is, something that sounds like, hi, so a lot of kids try to do kids' voices like this. And if you feel your larynx, it'll be like way high.
Yeah.
That's it. I got it. I think I got it.
So I wanted to show you these two extremes because the high, tight larynx position is the thing that we want to avoid as voice actors at all costs. Now, even if you're doing a fairly relaxed session, by the end of a 4-hour session, your larynx is going to be tight and high. So we want to try to keep it, number one, in that low relaxed position at all times. So that's why I wanted you all to feel, okay, where is my larynx at various points, when it's in a low pitch and a high pitch, so that you can start to be aware of that positioning and how much strain is on your voice when you're working. And just notice at the end of a 3-hour session, how is it feeling? Is it tight and high? So again, let's go back to our yawning exercise. And now just try to yawn, but don't actually open your mouth. So yawn without opening your mouth. And you can actually see it on my neck.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see my larynx pull down? So it happens automatically every time you yawn, and pulling that larynx down will automatically kind of reset your larynx in a position that's a little bit more relaxed. So there's a couple of different lower larynx exercises that you can do. And again, you don't ever want to force the larynx down, but just kind of, if you've been in a really high, tight position for an extended period of time or at the end of a session, just kind of pulling it down gently a few times can actually help it kind of re-stretch it out to a good neutral position. So for me, for example, I do a lot of high squeaky voices. So at the end of a really high pitched session, I will actually do a number of just what I call the Yogi Bear exercise, which is just, hey, boo boo, and I just talk down here for a while, and Sylvester Stallone thing. So even if you just do that just a few times, even if you're doing, not all of you may be doing high pitched voices, but just getting it down in that lower position, just be aware. And if it feels very different afterwards, you'll be like, okay, it really was in a high tight position. So that is your larynx. So that's why I just wanted you to be able to feel exactly where that is, so you can have a greater awareness moving forward. Okay, cool. So that is that. That's going to change your tone very much in anything that you do, because if you're in that nice, relaxed, open position, listen to my sound, right? So I'm not pulling it down forcefully, but I'm making it just this nice, relaxed position, which is really different from all this high stuff. So, that larynx position can really change your sound as well. Okay, so ways to relax the larynx in a way, actually physically, during a session or after a session. So if you're starting to feel really tight in your neck, a lot of voice actors store tension in their neck, and it can actually affect their voice. I actually got some of these exercises from Christy Bowen. I don't know if you guys know her. She's another WOVO member as well, and she did a number of great physical therapy kind of, with a laryngologist, I think they're called, or a vocalist, and they gave these to her, and these are just wonderful. So what you can do is actually, so now that you know where that larynx is, you can actually move it from side to side just to stretch it gently. So this is just, you can just kind of, you don't have to do like a lot. You can really just move it over so it's kind of stretching here on the side. So you don't want to push it hard or anything, but just even just a little bit of gentle. You can kind of hold it there for maybe just 10 seconds. Pull it over again to the opposite side. Weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like weird.
I
Does
didn't know.
everybody else's pop when you do that?
What?
Mine pops when I do that on both sides. There's like a click or a pop.
Are you? Yeah, mine does that, but be very gentle. So you may just have a lot of tension there too. So that's another reason why I wanted to do this with you today, Shannon, because since you tire, it could just be that your larynx is just totally overworking. So, and again, be very gentle. You don't want to force it into anything, but just some gentle movement here. Okay, so another one is actually just putting like your knuckle right underneath your chin, right behind your chin. There's kind of a soft little area. You can just kind of massage in there a little bit. It'll feel good. So just gentle. And and even down into here, because all this collarbone stuff, all of this is going to affect your larynx. So I think they told Christy during her sessions to just, every couple of minutes, every 2 minutes, just to do one thing, Or actually, no, it wasn't every couple of minutes. I'm sorry. I think it was like once an hour or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But periodically during a session, if you want to just loosen all this up, it's going to help. Because again, all those muscles are connected. You also may want to check your jaw tension. And that's kind of unrelated so much to the larynx, but again, any kind of additional tension is not going to help you. So anything in the jaw area, making sure all that is nice and relaxed. My favorite way to check that is actually I make people move their jaw while they're talking. So like if you can't do that while you're working, then you probably have a lot of jaw tension. I know it looks really weird, but so if you're sitting there going like this the whole time, you won't be able to do that. So it will become very obvious to you right away if you just back and forth really quickly. Yeah. Cool. So that is all for that stuff. And again, those are just a few little things. Now, I actually just attended a Andrea Toyas workshop, which was really wonderful. And this is going to sound crazy, but she shared that she had a voice actor actually come in with a personal massager for the neck. I swear to God. So again, you don't have to bring one to a session, but I've never used one myself, and I would imagine you need to be very gentle. Like, don't like get digging in there or anything, but just another thought that was from her. I've never done it personally, but just another thought. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting tidbit. Okay, cool. So now, okay, let's talk about, the diaphragm. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, this is my favorite diaphragmatic exercise. So first of all, breathing. I'm not going to go into breathing in great detail. If you're not very aware of your diaphragm or, breathing in general, I'd recommend looking up some exercises. And the most important thing being that you don't want to breathe up here only. You want to be breathing from down below. The ribs go all the way down. And if you feel your ribs, they actually go extremely low. And as low as your ribs go, your lungs go all the way down there. So people forget that they can breathe all the way down into that lower. I mean, you'll see it goes halfway down your tummy almost if you follow them all the way down. So when you breathe, think about breathing all the way down there. The other thing that people forget about is that lungs are three-dimensional, meaning they go into your back. This whole area in the back, you can actually, if you put your hands on your back, if you can reach that far, and you breathe and you focus on breathing into your hands, you actually can. So go ahead and give it a try. See if you could breathe into your back, or if you can't reach that far around, that's fine, at least just on your ribs on the side, breathing into your hands. Just being aware that if you get a breath from all the way down there, it's a lot more air that you're going to have to support anything you do. A lot of tension is caused just from people running out of air. Anytime you start to feel tense, anytime I feel tense, I actually am like, how good is my breathing right now? And I'll take a deep breath from all the way down at the base of my ribs, and I'm like, oh, that was a lot easier. So you're going to create a lot less neck tension and in general throat tension, all that stuff, if you're breathing from a nice supported, because it will just come out effortlessly. Okay, so diaphragmatic exercise. This is a way to kind of slap awake your diaphragm. Okay. And it's going to give you a nice rich sound. You don't want to do it too many times. I usually do it maybe 3 in a row, and then that's it. My whole warm-up for work takes about 8 minutes. That's it. I'm not like you need to warm up 20 minutes a day. For voice actors, I don't think you really need that. I think you're good 7-8 minutes. Nice. So yeah, I'm lazy. I'm lazy about that. We're not doing opera. For character acting, you want to go all the way up into, you want to go into the range you're going to use. So if I'm going to be a 5-year-old, then I need to go up into my 5-year-old range and make sure that's nice and fluid up there. But if you're just doing commercial narration, even just a 5-minute warm-up is going to do wonderful things for you. It also moves the mucus and everything around, which will give you a clearer sound because it actually gets everything to kind of circulate. So, okay. So diaphragmatic exercise. This is actually called, I don't actually know the name of it. My fellow coach and I call it the puta exercise, actually, believe it or not. And if you have a piece of paper, you can just write down these syllables, these words right in a row. It's puta, leta, puta, yes, just like puta, leta, geta. And then chest at the end. And I'm going to demonstrate this one time for you, okay? So, and you do breathe in between each thing, but if you breathe, there's nothing up here. It's going to be just from those nice lower ribs. So here we go. Puta, leta, geta, chest. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm not going to go on forever. But so it's puta, leta, geta. And this is, and put your hands on your belly because you should feel it move when you do this. So everyone just try puta really quick together. Puta, puta. Good. Did you feel your belly? Okay, good. So now do puta and leta, and then again in between, feel your ribs, your lower ribs, just expand to take the next breath. Don't consciously take the breath. Don't go to take the breath. Just let it happen, because the diaphragmatic exercise we've just done to get it to, that should automatically begin to create the vacuum. It should happen by itself. Okay, ready? Puta, leta,
Leta.
good. Cool. So if it's nice and forceful, it'll automatically, again, create that vacuum. Don't think about it too hard. If you breathe, great. If you don't worry about it. The main thing is we're going to get all the way into that chest, and then you want the chest to go on as long as possible until you're absolutely out. And then just let it go. Let yourself breathe the way, don't go to take a breath. Just let it happen, because it's going to happen all by itself. And then we're going to head right into the next one, okay? Cool. So let's go ahead and do this 3 times in a row. Ready? Here we go. Chest. Again, here we go. A little faster this time. La, ta, la, ta, chest. And if you run out, just go right into the next one. We don't all have to do it together. Poo, ta, la, ta. And while you're all still doing that, this also helps with controlling your airflow going out, learning how to control how much goes out at one time. Okay, cool. And when everyone's run out, take a nice deep breath from the lower ribs and go ahead and just say something. Hello, my name is.
Hello, my name is Shannon.
How does it sound, and how does it feel?
It sounds great. I feel like I just took a nap.
Very relaxed.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. And as you get the hang of this, really pay attention to like how far you can get all that air out, and then the natural breath that kind of creates the vacuum. Your ribs, this whole area, you don't actually even consciously, in opera, you don't consciously even necessarily have to take a breath. Actually, just expanding the ribs will create the vacuum that will bring the air in, which is really crazy concept. You don't have to think about that in great detail, but they actually teach that so that there's no tension in here, that everything is just automatically will come in, and then you'll have all that airflow that you need. So just being aware of that. I do three diaphragmatic wake ups before I head into my warm up. Okay, cool. Questions? No? Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So now take your straw, please. I didn't have a real tissue. We don't have tissues. I have toilet paper, so that's probably toilet paper.
Okay.
But if you have a real tissue, that's better. That's better.
Last year,
Do you have a real tissue?
Sorry. I couldn't get to the mute quick enough. Sorry.
Salute. Okay. So
toilet paper only family.
okay, cool. So and actually this is a regular straw. This actually works better with a sipping straw, like one of those little coffee stirring ones.
Mm.
So if you yeah, but I mean, any kind of straw is fine for now. But something that has like a little bit more like focused tension is even better. But you can just pretend it's not a big deal. Doesn't make a huge difference. So I'm not going to go into the mechanics behind this and why this does this. You can look it up on your own. If you like some links, I have some. You can watch the in-depth explanation of how this affects the vocal cords and why it's good for them. But in a nutshell, this basically it basically forces your vocal cords to stretch out and kind of unpress together. Sometimes when your voice is really tired, or if it's unhappy or swollen, or for any reason, this will kind of help everything kind of lengthen out and decompress, and get everything to move a little bit more fluidly. So this is a way to strengthen your vocal cords, and it's also something that you can do to kind of just reset your vocal cords if everything's really tight and unhappy. So basically all you're going to do is just do like humming through a straw. The way you don't want to go like super forcefully, but you do want to focus it all through the straw. And what this does is it focuses the air. I mean, nothing's going to be coming through your nasal cavity. So just be very aware of the way that this is coming out here, and also what's happening in the back in your pharyngeal cavity, all this stuff back here. You'll kind of feel stuff sort of expanding and stretching open, and that's opening your vocal cords. So just be aware of that space back there, and it'll feel really good. Oh, sorry, I just lost my screen. Give me just a second. Okay, there'd everybody go. Okay, so all we're gonna do right now is just some gentle, what they call a pitch glide. And if you look at videos of this afterwards, you will see it again. So all this is just gonna do is just go ahead and give it a try, and just sliding up and down ever so gradually, a few notes up and a few notes down. Go ahead. And really focus the air right there. So there, and you'll feel a nice buzzing all in your face as you do this, actually.
Tickly.
So as you give that a try, the goal with this is just to get a nice steady stream of air as you go up and down. So you can, you know, with the tissue, sometimes it's hard to hold the same, but if you get a nice steady stream going, that's how you know you're doing it right. It shouldn't be like like bursts of air. Nice steady stream is a lot of control, and that's going to be great for you.
Ooh.
Good. Make sure to breathe. Breathing is good. Okay, cool. So,
wow,
so that's
difficult.
Yeah. So, and again, you don't have to go crazy with that, but you know, just that way you have that nice steady stream. So now we're going to add a few accents, which is again supposed to help strengthen the voice. So an accent is basically just kind of a I call it like a siren. I think sometimes they call it accents, but it's gonna, what it does, you'll notice, is it gets your diaphragm involved a little bit. So go ahead and give that a try. And again, you don't have to worry too much about the tissue. I mean, that's just to see how much you're blowing. If it's too hard or too little, you know, if nothing's happening, then that's not great. And if it's like blowing at random intervals, that's not a lot of control either. So that should give you just the idea of the steady stream. Cool. So the accents, again, just it gets that diaphragm involved a little bit. You know, it just kind of wakes up your cord. So now, last thing we're going to do is you're going to pick your favorite song, and you're just going to hum it. So let's all just pick a song. Should we do Happy Birthday? I don't know. It seems, is it anybody's birthday? It's my birthday.
Sure.
It's my birthday.
Oh, well, let's do that. Happy birthday. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do Happy Birthday together. And shall we all pick a note? I'll let the guys choose because I don't want to do something too high.
Yeah, perfect.
We're good.
This is amazing.
That's horrible. Sorry, Cristina.
That was lovely.
Like a kazoo.
Somebody.
For me, I'm just getting really.
They recommend doing a song that has a fair amount of range. I think in the videos you'll see the one from the actual doctor who first posted this. You'll find him. I think his name is Dr. Titz. Titz, actually, Titz, something like that, or Tizg. I'm not sure. You'll see him, but he does the national anthem, which is a great one because it has a lot of accents in it and high range. So. So that's a good one. And they recommend doing this, you know, if your vocal cords, if you have some trouble with your vocal cords not being strong enough or with tension of any kind, they recommend doing this, you know, a few times a day. just for 2 to 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be a lengthy thing. So, and this is literally given by all, vocal therapist people. This is a very standard exercise that you will see. So does anyone have any questions? That's sort of it.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
My pleasure.